casting. My name is Ryan Farley. I'm 16 years old. I go to a performing arts school in New York, and I'm an actress.
Hi, I'm Ryan Hobby. I'm 15 years old, and I go to a public school in New Jersey. I am an actor and a singer.
And today we have two wonderful ladies joining us. We have Miss Melissa Lacorte and Shea Dawson. Thank you so much for joining us. So Miss Melissa is a California native. She's an owner of her own company. She's a mother of two, and she is a force to be reckoned with. And Miss Shea Dawson is also a California native. She has a bachelor's degree from Robert Morris University. She played basketball and volleyball. She worked for the Philadelphia 76ers. She's a director of athlete relations at Overtime, and she is also a force to be reckoned with in her own industry. Okay, Ryan, this one is about girl power, so we're gonna have to ask you to,
I get it.
You'll be back. You'll be back at the end.
By the way, I'm going to need a 76ers autograph.
Got you.
I'll leave you to your girl talk.
Yes, you'll be back. All right. So I want to talk with you guys about, leadership and entrepreneurship today. Does that sound good?
Yeah. Sounds great. Let's do it.
So starting your own business seems, really challenging or even intimidating. So what made you want to do it?
I'll take this one first. So for me, I think that I had just like a huge passion for it. And I think I teeter-tottered around the idea for so long. And finally, you just have to do it. I think most entrepreneurs can relate to that because the only person in the way is yourself. And it's just a matter of, okay, it's time. There's never going to be like the right time. So you just have to do it. And I think that I knew my value and I could be an asset in the industry I wanted to get in.
So I'm actually in the process of just getting all of my stuff together. I've been such a career person for so long. And my best friend, Melissa, always tells me, Shea, you're a business. You need to start your own business. So I said, okay, I'm going to do that. So I have all the little things. I have the logo, I have the concept, I have what I want to do, who I want to do it with. And once I decide to just go in the creative lane, I think I'm really going to launch it off, but I'm just getting everything together right now. And I would say my business is going to be focused around the community of people that I've met and touched over the years in the sports industry. I really just try to give back to the community and put on events and bring people together. Really try to heal through different methods. Maybe that's yoga, maybe that's health and wellness retreats and things like that. So it's kind of an idea right now. And then I'll probably get started in a few years.
So it's just about having, a set plan and idea and just jumping right into it.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And what were some of your roadblocks and challenges in, getting started and getting these ideas together?
So for me, I really think, kind of just piggybacking off of what I just said, I think my biggest roadblock was always myself. It was always me. Whether it was making excuses or I had fear or it was, financial fear or insecurity. And you just really have to kind of just get to a point where you really have to own the idea of like, I belong in the room. And so that was, on top of, just the regular, little type of obstacles you're going to come across, whether you're an entrepreneur or a regular, 9-to-5er.
Yeah, I would say one of my challenges is I'm not a multitasker. I'm not a good multitasker. So I couldn't see myself doing my full-time job and creating a business at the same time and giving the same quality and the level of quality of work and then also customer service, attentiveness to the people that I'd be offering my services to. So that's why I'm still in the planning stages. And then once I have the mental capacity to do so, then I'm going to go to launch to the market.
I'm excited to see what you do with that.
Me too. This is my logo right here.
Oh, I like that.
Connection.
Love it. And who are some of your biggest motivators and mentors?
Ooh, this is a good one. So It was funny because, so if you're in, sports industry, a lot of women will know Lisa Joseph. She's most well known for being D Wade's agent. She's at CAA, and she was someone I idolized for years before I even met her. And I remember when I finally did met her, just like, I actually met her husband before at a NBA All-Star, and I remember like just kind of just being in awe, like, and just, admitting to her just like how much I've looked up to her and just idolize her and just her career. And that's someone who I didn't know. And then I definitely have, mentors and people who motivate me within my circle. But I will really truly say, because Shea's one of the, the people, I think, being that we're so close, that we really, really rely on each other's energy. We rely on each other's opinions. We sometimes need the push. Sometimes we need to be told we're wrong. And and I think that's where, I will say the, mentorship and, motivators and just, people who are in your circle are so important. So important.
Yeah, and I would say the same. I would say my biggest motivators are my community, the people who love me, the people who continue to check on me every day, people who just fill me up with positive things, love on me, like even like Melissa said, when I need to be told that I'm wrong, and we bounce ideas off of each other all the time. I can be vulnerable to her. I think it's very important to have somebody you can really be yourself to, because they'll tell you the real and really refocus you. So really just the people around me. I wouldn't say one specific person. I will say throughout my jobs, I have been motivated by great bosses and bosses that maybe haven't been so great as well, because sometimes when you're in an uncomfortable situation, it pushes you further than you could push as if you were in a happy situation. So I would say, throughout your life, notice and recognize, the good experiences and appreciate the bad experiences, because they both do the same thing in terms of motivation.
Right. And for specific times too. I think it's also, like you just said, Shea, to just reiterate what you just said, is like knowing that some people will be there literally just for a season or a moment, whether teaching, and it could be a teaching moment or, a good or bad one.
Agreed.
Yeah, a lot of our other guests have mentioned the same thing, like watch you surround yourself with people come and go, just see who's really there for you. And
right.
I think it's really good advice. So we all know what's happening with the coronavirus pandemic right now. So how has the pandemic impacted you both personally and professionally?
A lot. Like for me, being, you guys heard my intro. I'm a mom. I'm a mom first. Obviously I'm a woman too, and I think that it's overwhelming. Everybody can agree that just COVID, what's going on in this social world is a lot. And I think a few different things that I've had to remember, whether I've been in tears or whether I've been reminded that I'm allowed to still celebrate joy, is that we have to give ourselves grace. And that is something that I have to almost coach myself through some days, to remind myself it's okay to have a day. It's okay to, not work 10, 12 hours and just work 6, and, and find that balance. And then I think also too, just the obvious things. I'm not traveling as much, which has been different. So I think just in my industry, people have realized that we don't have to be, on a plane as much as we have been, which is, I think a positive. And then I've also, I've had a tendency when because I've always worked from home. So I would work through lunch. So I'd work through meals. I would eat breakfast and eat. I would eat lunch and work. And now I actually schedule an hour and a half every day for a lunchtime. And it's done wonders for me mentally. But I think just, there's been I think there are some silver linings though too. I think there are some positives from it. But I also think that there are a lot of negatives, but one of the biggest takeaways was actually an amazing person. Shout out to Sherry Riley. She reminded me to make sure I always give myself the pass to still celebrate, small joys.
That's great, Melissa. I would say, well, today's my 1-year anniversary at my new company. Overtime.
Congratulations.
Shout out Overtime. And so it's kind of crazy because 50% of my job is on the road. Now 100% of my job is in my house, in front of the computer. And so I would say how I imagined my first year going didn't go that way at all. And so it's kind of crazy not really getting to spend that time with employees and getting to know them and build that morale. Although being virtual has helped me actually connect with people in the company that I probably would never have otherwise, you know, just being on the road so much. So I would say it's a bunch of mixed feelings about it. I do love that the pandemic has allowed people to spend more time with their family. God willing that they have family that they love and want to be around every single day. But that you can also, it changes the traditional work environment, that you don't have to just be in the office so your boss can see you, you know, just to know that you're doing a good job and just to know that you're adding value to a company. You actually can work from home. So maybe, you know, the positives that will come from this, that people can have more time with their family. They can, you know, take days off without it being so scheduled and so regimented. You know, and then also just grocery shopping, cooking every day, trying to find time to work out, you know, just getting lazy and not doing your hair unless you get on the Zoom like me. Stuff like that. So it has affected my daily life, but I also have realized that I can go multiple days without putting on makeup, or, you know, things that I didn't think that I could do because I was always out in the world. So I have appreciated, I've been a lot more of myself since the pandemic started. And so I'm appreciative of that.
Yeah. And this is like totally like outside the box. Like I had to like do a lip color and like put this on and like, so I'm sort of being a little fake right now. But I think also I do want to say one thing, and I think Shea can probably agree with this too, because we have very similar personalities in this aspect, is one thing that has taken a toll on me is that I realized, it wasn't until the pandemic that I realized how much I do need other people's energy. I'm a very, you know, I'm a big spiritual vibe, energy type of person. And that I noticed that some days I would just kind of be in a funk. And not to say that I don't love my kids and my household, but it would just kind of just where I'm like, I just need an energy. I just, you know, and figuring that out and figuring that space out. Sometimes some days were tough, you know, we're just, yeah.
Yeah, it's that environment. It's the vibes you get, you know, the communal space. Like even just going to the store now is exciting. Just going to Target and seeing humans pass by you, deciding what they're going to bring home for them. Not even you. You're just like,
right.
You find yourself just, waving to random people, right?
Right.
Like,
how you engage with like the cashier, like you're just like it's like, I think we all realize like the smallest of things are, you know, mean more now.
Yeah, they mean more, for sure.
Yeah, I didn't go outside for months. So the first time I went outside, I was like, wow. People are, wow.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Yeah. It's overwhelming. It's a like overwhelming feeling.
Yeah. I mean, even taking normal walks, you're like, the trees are so beautiful.
Exactly. The sky, so blue.
The sky. Oh my goodness. You know, you start to notice the world. Yeah.
Right.
It was a wake up call. It was a big wake up call for us.
Yeah, for sure.
So as an African American young lady, you know, I'm faced with the pressures of knowing that I have to work, you know, 2-3 times harder than everyone else just to, you know, get to the same place. And obviously you guys are both, you know, hardworking women of color. So how do you guys deal with, you know, all the challenges?
Well, that's twofold. So one, being a woman,
yeah,
a Black woman, and it's stressful. It's stressful, which is why you have to find a routine to take care of yourself. Because no matter what, even if you have the best boss, even if you have the best company, it's just that always in the back of your mind as a woman, I've got to work harder to, so these men don't say, oh, women can't do this, right? So you're always trying to debunk those type of things. And then being a Black woman, you think about being late. Oh, I can't be late. So they say Black people are always late, things like that. So it's constant stresses of just hitting those benchmarks of being above reproach. And it's really, really difficult to do that, especially when that is your goal, but you know that you're going to be judged on that. So I would say, and what I've been doing is I have this thing called Not Yoga, and I'm going to introduce it into the world at some point, but it's just a way to calm my mind, to be still, center myself, get back to the middle. So it's constant reminders, talking to yourself, self-talk. and it's not easy. And then really just prepare so you can kick butt and you can be like, I did that. So yeah.
Right. And that's the exact mentality. And that's my, I have like a short and long answer to it, because, again, beginning of when I came into this space, it's a male dominant space. So, it's very intimidating. And then, there's, also women sometimes who just aren't as nice, but that's just the world. And I think that once you gain and really own your own self, and like your value, and you can enter a room and say, I belong in here. Like I say that phrase a lot, because that's more than half the battle, is having that confidence and owning the room and making sure you're seen and heard, and you belong there because you worked to be there, or, building the confidence to ask questions or whatever it is, because really and truly everyone has those insecurities, and and I think that, it is unfortunate because, women have to work, so many times extra, and then you put colored women, and then you see what's going on in the Black community. So it's very unfortunate. So we can't act as if it's not happening, because it is, but then we also have to, how do we push through? And I think also too, women, now I love it more than ever, is because women are just, really just latching onto each other and just, really, really being that community, because Shea shares the same mentality as me, is there's more than enough for everybody to win. And we can all win. And if we just, like she said, just kick butt, and just, we're here and own it.
Yeah. And I think just to piggyback off that, it's the togetherness piece. It's really just to try and knock down those barriers with other women, invite other women to do things, really extend, that olive branch, and just say, let's collab, let's do this. You're doing something great, I'm doing something great, and let's really collab together. And I think the stronger, you show up together, the more, your male counterparts have to understand that, you got your sisters behind you. So you're not going to just say or do anything. We're here to stay, and to always just, have that mindset of like, okay, I'm a boss by myself, but I'm a force when I'm with, other women. So.
And women just get it done. I mean, women just get it done.
Just get it done.
I feel like a lot of people let their pride get in the way. So when they do become successful, they're like, oh, I did it all by myself. But I think it's better to be able to share it with people, and people who support you.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Because
that's what we do.
It takes a village.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
I mean, literally before the pandemic hit, we were at All-Star Weekend and we were at the Super Bowl. I mean, and we were killing it in terms of just like networking, meeting people. She knew people, I knew people, and it was just a constant flow of good energy and business at the same time. And I just thought, what if I was here by myself? That would be so boring. I'd rather be doing it with my sister. So. Right.
And it's important though, like Shea said, like, I also think like I have many close friends who do the same thing as me. And I think that's, important to be secure in your own space. Again, phrase, with the phrase, there's more than enough for everybody to eat. Everybody could win. And I entrust in these women with, sharing, whether it's venting or sharing my own, problems of the day or whatnot, knowing that they go through it too, versus, pretending like, we don't have any obstacles, I think just hurts us more.
Absolutely.
100%. So what advice would you give to your younger selves knowing what you know now?
You want to take that?
I'll go first on this one. So I think a couple things. I wrote some of my answers down. I just kind of brainstormed, and I think that number one would be to balance. I think, but I also, it's a little contradicting because when you get balanced, you're gonna immediately get unbalanced at some point very quickly, right? But just being aware of being balanced, I think is really, really important. I also would tell my younger self that I shouldn't be as hard as I am on myself. I think that's something that I carry a lot on. And then I think another another gem, I feel like. And I tell people, if I have an opportunity to mentor, you know, younger girls in my position or women in my position, I always tell them money's going to come. If you just do honest, true, hard work, money is always going to come.
Yeah. So I would tell my younger self what I told myself in my 30s that kind of helped me figure out my path that I'm on now, which is kind of just everything starts like clicking, is to say yes more. To say yes to opportunities that aren't as glamorous, that aren't, you know, what I think I should get right out of the gate. You know what I mean? To really volunteer more, really just show up to events. Not that I wasn't invited to, but maybe ones that, you know, I didn't plan for, but someone was like, oh, there's this event this weekend, you should go. And I'm like, I needed to know 3 days in advance in order to like make sure I, you know, like stop making those excuses and really just show up, because showing up is half the battle. Mm-hmm. And so when I started showing up for myself and saying yes, doors started to open for me. And I was like, why wasn't I doing this earlier? Because I was blocking my blessings, trying to manufacture what I thought how my career should go. And then, so I would just say yes, you know, and show up and don't big time any opportunities, because every opportunity is a chance to meet somebody new who can affect your life positively or negatively. I mean, either way, it's pushing you in the direction that you need to go in, that you're supposed to, where you're supposed to be.
Melissa, you were talking about how when you were younger, you were very hard on yourself. And I have that same problem myself. I critique myself a lot, and I'm really hard on myself. So how did you get over that?
I feel like, I think a lot of it was, which I still make mistakes till this day. I'm so far from perfect, but I think a lot of trial and error with me. And then I think, I am the type of person who is always going to be this smile. I'm always going to, I'm going to have that get it done mentality, but people don't know. And I guess, I can tell the world right now is that there's moments Melissa does go to the bathroom and I might be crying, or I could scream, or I could send a text to my sister or my mom with, just to uplift me at that very moment. But so I would say coaching, one thing I have been consistent with since I was young is coaching myself through something. And just, whether it's, giving yourself just repetitive type of affirmations and being vulnerable. I think we have to, and that's where I kind of, I failed early on that, was like, oh, I'm superwoman, and like it, I don't get affected, but it just hurts you.
Yeah, I can speak to that. I'm not hard on myself. Maybe I should be a little bit harder on myself, because I have this like weird, like, if it's meant to be, it'll be, right? And I know a lot of my friends who are very like chronological. They need this to happen this way, or they're just, they unravel. So I would say be very intentional about how you watch your results of something. So let's say if you're very OCD about a process, see how you are, at the end of that process, how you net out, and then try to take an approach, if you possibly can, to do it in a more looser timeline and see how it comes out, because you'll realize that you stress yourself out for nothing, because whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Like my personality. And sometimes it works against me. And I will say I have failed a lot because of it. But again, my half, glass full personality is like, well, it was supposed to happen like that, even though it was a disaster. So I would just say, just try to be intentional about how you view the things that happen and that you want to happen, and then compare the two. And then you can really like come to a place where like, okay, I needed to stress out about this thing, or actually it's still going to happen no matter what, whether I show up on time or I get an A on that project. So I would say that, since you're still in high school and you have a lot of comparing yourself to do, which you're going to do, even if I tell you don't do it. So,
and you can always have, the plan A, like, my crazy head goes, is like having the plan A, B, and C. So A doesn't work. You got 2 and 3 lined up.
Right. So that you save yourself that worry.
Right.
Like,
you're prepared.
I don't have anything. Yeah. Exactly.
And Shay, you've been talking a lot about, connections and networking, and a lot of people, they get like social anxiety and they're not like too good with talking with people. So what tips would you give them on how to get over that so they can,
You only need one. So whatever event you go to, whatever game, whatever, doesn't matter. If there's thousands of people, you only need one person to connect with. So if you can get your energy and muster up, and it doesn't have to be like tap someone on the shoulder and say, hey, can we talk? It's kind of like, you're standing in line, let's say you're at a buffet line, you're getting food, and you start to think out loud. You say, wow, this shrimp is really amazing. And someone responds to you. You start that conversation. That's one person you've identified in the room. Maybe you see them on the other side of the room and you go stand by them and you talk to them. Try to find points, try to ask them questions that maybe you can arrive to the same point where you guys have things in common. And then that way you can start to create, if this person is somebody you can have in your space, your tribe, I like to call it, and you go from there. All you need is one person, one friend in the world. You don't need thousands. And then those people are connected to other people. They're connected to other people. And then you can pull from your network and then they can link you with other people. So you don't have to feel anxiety of like, I only got one phone number, at this networking event. So that's my advice.
And I think it's important though, too, to make sure that, Ryan, that you have a 20 to 30 second elevator speech in your head about, personal, your personal life, maybe your, professional, your ambitions. Yeah. Just to have that and practice that, like as awkward as it is, practice that in the mirror, practice it on video, and really, really get that down so when you do have that conversation or opportunity with someone who can be really crucial in your journey, you say it with confidence.
Yeah, and to piggyback, actually made me think of this, and that we do this really well, is we use each other. So yeah. She'll introduce me to somebody and I'll introduce her to somebody. And even though I'm not a shy person, certain personalities make me shyer, right? So like, I don't know, it depends on if I like, let's say I love musicals. So if it's a singer in a musical, I'm like, oh my God, I can't talk to her. And Melissa's gonna be like, oh, I know so-and-so's cousin. I'm like, oh, could you introduce me? So maybe when you go places, if you go by yourself, that's fine. But sometimes having someone give your credentials for you and say, this is Melissa, she has her own company. She works with athletes, she's really amazing. This is her client list. Oh, I know so-and-so. That's awesome. And then you start to connect there. So having somebody to introduce also helps as well.
Yeah. If there's opportunity to do quick research before you walk into a room, yep. And you can give, whether it's for a client or a colleague or a friend, or you can mentally note it yourself and you can give yourself talking points, but then also don't beat yourself up, because you don't want to be right. Like, then you're like socially awkward and like thinking of all the things in your head, so, again, balance, and figure it out and make, and just be yourself. Just be yourself.
That's really good advice. Thank you. So how would you guys define wealth?
Well, wealth, people, community, right? Your ability to have access to the world speaks more volumes to me than having more money in my account. And I would say my world has been so rich because of the people that I have in my world. I can count on them for lots of things. I mean, I grind myself, but at the same time, I really pull from the people that I have in my life. And I'm intentional about that. Like I talked about intentionality, I'm intentional about that. So the more people you have, and then you're motivating them, they're motivating you, you have access to the world. You can go here, you can go there. You don't need money to be at places, right? You just need people.
Yeah, I have the same mentality. I think, I actually looked it up, and the definition of wealth is the abundance of valuable possessions. And to me, like I said, you guys heard my mindset, money's always going to come. And I think you become more rich when you do have things like, family, love, kind people around. Those type of valuable aspects of life is what makes you rich. And again, money's always going to follow. You work hard, you're true to yourself, and you do honest work. Sky's the limit in terms of how many commas you want in your bank account, where you're going to go professionally, and you're going to get there.
You're going to get there. Trust me. You're going to be like, I don't know how this is possible, but one day, all that hard work, all the genuine interactions and connections you put in is going to pay off one time. It's going to say, Wow.
And that
You're valuable.
investment that you've been putting into everything, you know, becomes your wealth.
And people pay you for the people you know.
Really?
People pay you for the people you know, because not everybody can have access to those people.
True.
That's part of your value. That's part of your value. That's why you know, go in and you have the experience and the years of, you know, it's something that adds to your resume. It adds to your value. And, you know, you start to, you know, collect this amazing network of people, resources, knowledge, and, you know, and if you could share it, great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And we're gonna bring Ryan Hobdy back really quickly so he can.
Oh, poor Ryan.
Hey guys.
Sorry, we had to leave you out.
We weren't talking about you.
We weren't, I promise.
It's fine. I can tell y'all miss me.
We did. Yeah, we just wanted to let you come back so you can say bye to the ladies before we log off.
Well, I wasn't here, but I can anticipate that what you guys said was really helpful.
Yes, they were amazing. They gave some great
We
advice.
hope people could take from what we said, and they can always hit us up collectively or individually. Melissa and I do this all the time. So.
And let us know how we can help you guys too. So I love it. You know, let us know how we can push it out. Shea has a way cooler social media following than I have, but I have a cool network, but
My page is public, her page is private, so that's the only reason. So don't let her think I'm cool.
So let us know how we can push it out, support you guys. And you know, whenever you guys have other cool things like this in the future, let us know.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll reach out. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you guys come back sometime. I would love to have you back.
Yeah, stay in touch.
I would like to talk to y'all next time.
Absolutely.
Bye, Ryan and Ryan.
Time for you.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
They were lovely. Okay, sorry you missed it.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
That one was about girl power. Sorry. Okay, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the fundamentals of investing, and we will see you in the next episode.
Yep. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
This podcast is brought to you by Hailstorm LLC, produced by Jalen Hobdy.